So this week we're going to go ahead and tackle a big issue. Why do we investigate in the dark? Anyway, many investigators will echo taps in the sense that they'll say that, well, if the phenomena happens during the day, then we'll go ahead and investigate during the day, but most of the time it happens at night, and so we investigate at night. However, not a lot of us know actually why we're investigating in the dark, and on the other hand, they don't have any reasons on why we should investigate during the day, and I'm going to give you some of both. So I'm going to go ahead and do each in 5 points why we should investigate during the day, why we should investigate during the night. However, first I want to kind of differentiate to investigating in the dark and why that's different from investigating at night. Kind of think of that distinction as we go through the vlog here because it does kind of make a difference. So ready and off. Reason to investigate in the dark, number 1. One of the first things that I ever said about this topic was that if a spirit is manifesting and producing light as it comes through, that's easier to see in the dark than it is during the day. The same way as if you take a dim flashlight, it's much easier to see in a dark room than it is in a light room. On the flip side of that point though, since I've been investigating, it's very rare that I've even seen any evidence, seen anything with my own eyes, or heard stories from people about a spirit actually producing light in the classical sense of a ghost kind of walking around and glowing through a room. Most of the time if a spirit does manifest, it's normally in the form of a shadow, or they look just like you or I, maybe even a little bit transparent, but very rarely actually producing light. Now the things that we do see on an investigation that are actually producing light are orbs. Not orbs in the sense of what you take with your camera when you have the flash on and you get those dust particles reflecting light. These are the actual energy orbs that are much more rare. They're actually producing and casting out light because they are a ball of energy. Another thing that we do see on the investigations that almost seem to be producing light are these strange kind of like trick of the eye type effects of little sparks that'll happen in the corner sometimes, validated by other people at the same time that they happen, that do seem to be a bit of a strangely occurring phenomenon. Reason to investigate in the dark, number 2. Barry Fitzgerald from Ghost Hunters International, wearing my throwback shirt for that today, he has a theory that he told to me about this idea of the UV light spectrum possibly being harmful to spirits as they try to manifest. The idea being when you consider the EMF spectrum and you move further and further to the right, the waves get more and more frequent, they increase, they get more violent. They impact matter with more regularity, and so it becomes more violent. Where the early waves are more gentle, just kind of like a natural wave in an ocean, the later waves are becoming more and more frequent, and so they impact more and more often, and that's harmful. That's why we see as we move to the right from visible light, we get UV light, which actually creates sunburns on our skin. That's what harms it, is that it's more and more damaging to the skin. We get X-rays after that, which will melt your brain if you're not careful, right? That's why you gotta wear those lead vests at the doctor's office. And beyond that too, we have gamma radiation, which scares the crap out of me.
950!
I hate that movie. I hate that movie. So Barry operates under this idea that sunlight, the same way that it gives us sunburn and harms our skin, it might actually scatter the particles of the spirit as they kind of delicately come together to manifest into something real in this world. Consider, he suggests, how in folklore, most of the time spirits are drawn towards the darkest areas of the room, for example, under the bed, in closets. These aren't necessarily just the most scary areas of the room, however, they're also the spots that are furthest away from this UV light, and might also be, in some senses, safer for the spirits. Reason number 3. Many investigators will say that they actually turn the lights and all the power in an area as best they can off in order to decrease the ambient level of EMF that's in the area. This would help them to get more accurate readings because everything else would be generally flat and not producing a lot of EMF. However, this isn't without controversy. Many investigators believe that by reducing this natural ambient level of EMF, you're also kind of reducing a natural EMF shield around a residence, which allows more stray EMF to come through that residence, seemingly randomly, and contaminate an investigation to make it look like something more spontaneous is actually happening. Also, investigators say that when you do an investigation, you should try to keep it as controlled as possible, in the same sense that you're recreating the situation when the entity was seen in the first place, which is usually power on, lights on too. Reason number 4. Many investigators investigate during the night because there's just not many people around. During the day, everyone's busy, everyone's active, everyone's hanging out. During the night, everyone's going to sleep, and so it's much quieter, it's much easier to conduct an investigation without the contamination of the living. So, final reason number 5, it's more theatrical, it's more entertaining. The television shows have to investigate in the dark because it's more entertaining and exciting. If the ghosts are going to come out, it's going to be during the night, and that's going to be spookier, and it's going to be creepier, and it's going to give them better ratings. Investigate during the day is just kind of boring for television. Could be good, some show could do it, I'd be open to watching that, but for the most part, that's what the networks don't want to see. On the other hand too, if you're going out to have an experiential investigation, and you're just having some fun, you want to get yourself spooked, turn all the lights off. It's great. It's scarier that way. It's a little bit more fun. Go for it. So that leads us to the flip side. Why should we investigate during the day? I should mention, though, that many of these reasons for investigating during the day have come from Mr. Jeff Allen Danilek, who wrote the book A Case for Ghosts and also reps my home state of Colorado. So you go ahead and check out his book down in the doobly-doo. It's pretty good. So reason for investigating during the day, number 1, ghosts show up during the day. Many people have taken photos of these ghosts. Many people have seen these ghosts. So what's the difference? And doesn't that defeat Barry's idea of the UV actually harming the spirits when they try to manifest? Well, these spirits do appear during the day. That's fact. But the first question of whether or not the UV actually harms these spirits and whether or not it debunks that theory should be asked. And we need to back up and look at whether or not there's different types of spirits, whether or not UV light might harm the different ones. We have these ideas about residual spirits, time slip spirits. We have these interactive spirits as well that might appear on command for us. And these are 3 very different types of theories about what ghosts are, and they all might exist. We think of when a spirit comes together and manifests and appears for us, that's usually an interactive or intelligent spirit's doing. A residual spirit is just an echo playing back, and a time slip spirit might actually be a slip in time where we're seeing back into the past. So, residual spirit just being that echo and the time slip being a completely different situation, UV light might not harm those situations, and we might still see those manifestations during the daytime anyways. So the same way that UV doesn't harm the actors in a movie that you're watching on your laptop outside, UV sunlight might not harm these residual or time slip spirits. That said though, go where the ghosts are. If the ghosts are hanging out during the day, go during the day. Reason number 2, so much easier to freak yourself at night in the dark than it is during the daytime. I do it myself almost every investigation I'm on because of this clip. God damn you, Slender Man. So of course, if a lamp is knocked across the room during the daylight, my reaction is going to be this. If a lamp is knocked across the room in the dark, my reaction is going to be this. It's straight up easier to be more objective about what's happening around you when the lights are on. Reason number 3, if spirits are manifesting as something with mass, rather than just kind of an energy conglomeration, light's actually going to reflect off of them and so be easier to see in the light than they are in the dark. Additionally, we think that spirits might actually need to draw energy to manifest. We see this happening with battery drains, right? So why not leave the lights on if they can actually draw from energy there? That might be why they're coming around during the day and not as much at night, because you have your lights on, you have your energy on. So why not investigate during the day with the lights on? Final reason number 5, it's safer. How many investigators have you seen both on TV and in real life running around in the middle of the dark in an old decrepit abandoned building about to hurt themselves? I know as an investigator who's done this myself, it's not necessarily as dangerous as it might seem. You have flashlights, you're taking your time, you're being very careful. However, there's still holes in the floor, there's still holes in the wall, there's still homeless people hanging around in the dark corners, right? You don't want to hurt yourself. And if you're investigating during the day because there's really no difference during the dark, it's much less likely that you're going to get in a dangerous situation. So which one do you guys prefer? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. Do you like investigating with the lights on, the lights off? Would you prefer investigating in the daytime or in the nighttime? Have you not thought about it till now? Do you have more reasons for or against either of these as well? Let me know. I'm always open to hearing. That's all I got for you guys this week, though. Next week we have coming up, we're going to talk about some provoking. We're going to talk about some orbs and photography in future weeks. Also, if you want to revisit some of the older stuff, the last 2 vlogs that I've done, I'll put links to right here. We've got moral issues in ghost hunting, and we've got issues of dreams and dream stuffs. So go ahead and check those out right there. As always, you can find me at www.karlpfeiffer.com and on Twitter at Karl Pfeiffer. Otherwise, I'll be seeing you guys next week. Word to your mother.